voice to share from all different perspectives. From gatekeepers to eve angels, they're the ones who hold the message. Large form of oppression with tidal waves of deception. The city cries itself to sleep. No one hears, but no one listens. Peeping through the street code, I see right through your physical embodiment. Let's take a trip and let me be the pilot. Young girl about 15, living in a dark city with dark schemes, unaware of the nocturnal horrors. No dad at home, so she's constantly chasing a male figure, filling the void with teenage boys who are manipulative. But that's anything better than how she gets destroyed on the inside, so she opens up like a book. I would say they read her, but they don't even take the time to look, blinded by the sexual impulses, so she feels the need to sin, since there's no other abundance to express her needs. So she opens up, sucked dry of her energetic current, she's left hopeless. As she goes on a rampage, failing school, having sex, who would have thought that a 15-year-old girl would feel regret? No, not because she's having sex, but because she's not doing it enough to fill the void of neglection. So every time she gets intimate, she holds a sexual election, choosing the next best candidate for her sexual preference, losing herself in the meantime, blinded by love, but tricked into lust. But the worst mistake of it all, none of her partners ever wore a glove. So the best solution was to run. So she runs to the beach. The flip side, 15-year-old boy, never had a pops either. Moved into the new city, raised by women, but still never treated them equal. I guess he just never knew their worth. Mindset had him thinking that he can't be a victim to his environment. But when the streets talked, he listened. See, he felt like he was granted with a mission, since the only male figure was the city that led him to this resurrection. Selling drugs, smoking weed, only at the age of 15. Major intelligence with academic excellence. It almost never bothered him that he was being forced with oppression. So he ignored his faith. Had dreams of being a football player, but he's past those days. Thought he was a win-win since he was cool in the streets and got good grades. Thought he had it all together until he stopped hiding his emotion. The horrors of the city filled his heart and thoughts with too much commotion. Not enslaved physically, but to his thoughts he was. So he felt the best solution was to run. So he runs to the beach, not only loaded with emotion, but loaded with a gun. So we both stand at the breaking point, both 15, but both going through a mid-emotional life crisis. Contemplating suicide, we grasp for air as the cosmic wind blows a little too strong, and the city's conformities falls on our shoulders just a bit too strong. We stand frustrated with so much emotion, we scream through the body of water as the ocean's tidal waves is a replication of our thoughts. As nature and her ways comes to an end of days, the internal tsunami builds as we jump from the edge of the sand and immerse ourselves in an energetic vortex. We drown, but simultaneously in a drought of hope and love. They rise, grasping for air, she breathes so heavily. She's seen the deeds of the devil and now her thoughts aren't so heavily. He looks into her eyes and says, I hope that you remember me. And then he shoots and falls into the earth. And she seemingly follows right behind him. No thoughts, no emotions, no feelings at all. When the city speaks, we listen. Thank you.
Can we please give some love to Brother Sal one more time, man? I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you, man. That second piece brought some tears to my eyes, because when you were reading those stories, it reminded me of the kids I work with each and every day. And it just like kind of showed me that's the reality of the community we're living in right now. Just to see the expression and emotion, I'm like, man, this is real. You know, especially when like feel that emotion right now, you know what I'm saying? And I want to ask you, man, how was it like? Because I know that is not just spoken words, those are actually experiences you have gone through. You know, from what you've experienced in the reflection of that poem, how do you try to bring forth a message to change what takes place in this community today?
being able to express myself on a level like this in a gathering of community, excuse me, in a gathering of community, in a community, it feels so wonderful just to get together and release. You know what I mean? Just because I'm not only sharing stories that are just make-believe, these are actually real experiences. So the one thing that I encourage, as I said before, your poems don't truly start until you start telling the truth. So once I started, once I started showing my emotion, I post on Instagram not every day, but as much as I can to try to get young brothers like me and the ones who are in our middle schools or in our schools to express themselves. Because the emotional constipation that we face on a daily basis growing up in a city like this is unbearable in a sense. It is only until I realize of being on the brink of suicide how imperative it is to share yourself and express yourself. So I advocate for every person on the brink of suicide, on the brink of depression. I only can feel a fraction of how you truly feel. And these words only mean a fraction of how I truly feel. So I encourage everyone to just express themselves in any way, shape, or form. And it's honestly just a pleasure and a blessing to be able to do it. So thank you.
Get on board.
Not today, not today. But I don't think it can get much realer than that, And as a man, in moments like this, I probably sit in my chair and really squeeze in my abdominal muscles to prevent the tears from coming out. But I realize when I cry, I feel good, When I let go of the emotion I release, it opens up my soul. When I hold it back, that's when it creates the pain, the tension. And just recognizing that when you hear something that's real, that's pure from the soul, that's what wakes you up. Because you could walk in their shoes for that moment in time, because when it's coming from their heart, you're inside their heart when you're present in that moment. And like you said, sharing your story, because you never know what anybody's going through. You know what I'm saying? You don't know whose life that you're touching and connecting to. And I think this man's only a freshman, and he just finished his freshman year on college campus at Montclair State, And that is something that just trying to continue, and he's going to touch some more lives and continue to build more future leaders, man. Because the more young men we have like Brother Sal, I know the change is going to come. It's only a matter of time. And this is Asbury Park's own too as well. So never forget the kids that are in this community at all times. So thank you for that, sir.
Man.